Understand how exactly we can build a very simple feed-forward neural network using PyTorch. So for that, we are trying to import our torch library, and mostly we are using ReLU activation. We will be using flatten layer and all that. In order to import all of them, we will be using torch.nn. We are importing that neural network layer, and torch.optim going to help us to call our optimizers, the different types of optimizers like Adam optimizer and all that. And torch vision is used primarily for your image data. If you are trying to deal with computer vision and all that, we use torch vision. And if you want to install torch vision, pip install, so your torch vision. In order to install torch library, pip install torch. And then we are using transformer in order to perform transformation operations like scaling your data between 0 to 1. If you take pixel values, they ranges from 0 to 255. So to scale them between 0 to 1, we are able to use toTensor command. So this is the toTensor command. So in order to use this toTensor command, we are trying to use our transformers, this sub library within your torch vision. And again, torch.utils.data, we are using data loader, means like now you are trying to feed a batch size. You are feeding the number of width of the image, height of the image, and it going to be the number of color channels. In order to feed them inside your particular inside your neural network model, we are trying to use our torch.utils.data data loader. So by using it, we are able to achieve it. And torch.viz going to help us to perform our plotting your computational graph. So by using torch.viz, we are able to plot our computational graphs. And finally, matplotlib used to plot your visualizations in simple. Now let's try to understand the very first line. So I created transformer, so I call transformers command, and .compose. The purpose of compose, if there are multiple transformation operations, to chain them together, we are using compose. And within that, the first transformation operation is if someone imported an image, we need to transform that toTensor, going to convert an image which is in 0 to 255 range, it going to scale it to 0 to 1. So by dividing every pixel value by 255, we are able to scale our image to 0 to 1. After scaling it, you are normalizing your data, so the x minus mu by standard deviation. So you provided your mean value, you provided your standard deviation value, so that you scaled your data, and the scaled data going to be stored. Now where we are passing these transformers, so we are calling torch vision, go to datasets, and we are importing fashion MNIST dataset. So from the root, so now we are importing an inbuilt dataset. So how exactly to load a data from our system, you are able to see this script which is called as feed forward -letter PyTorch. So here we are loading our own data internally from our system, even we will be going through this. And now I'm loading a data internally. There is a train data true and transformer. So where exactly you want to perform transformation, you want to download it, set true. And the same thing, you are trying to download your test data set, torch vision dataset, fashion MNIST, and your root dataset, and again it going to be train, and transformers and download going to be set true. So now in our train data, we want to download the train folder, whereas in the test data, we want to download only our test folder. For that reason, we are trying to set true and false here. And then we are using train underscore loader, data loader purposes, in order to push this data across the batch sizes. So train dataset batch size 64 images at a time, and we want to shuffle that. While we are picking every time, it need to shuffle it, whereas for your test data, we want to pick 1000 image, shuffle equal to false. If you want, you can keep it true, but to make your accuracy or your validation more appropriate, we give it as false. And then I'm trying to build my fashion MNIST data. So go to your neural network.module. I'm calling so inside this fashion MNIST, I want to provide the input size of the image, the hidden size of the hidden size going to be the number of hidden layers, and the output size going to be the output nodes. Now these are the three parameters which I need to feed in. And now I'm passing my linear, it going to flatten your whatever the input image you have it, you are able to get that linear layer. So you will be having a dimension of 1 row and a number of columns, and where you are having a hidden size, the number of hidden nodes, and you are taking the data from input layer to the hidden layer. At the hidden layer, you applied a ReLU activation, and you are transforming the information at a fully connected layer 2. We call it as fully connected layer 2. We are transferring the signal from hidden layer to your output layer, and that's what your equation is, the structure. So now fully connected layer, and then you are applying a ReLU, and then fully connected layer 2, you are returning your output value. Now you define this particular class. Now you are calling the object called as fashionist model. Input size, hidden size, output size, and you defined your model architecture at this particular line 15. Now you got a model architecture, the equation simple wx plus c. Now you want to compute this particular equation where you are calculating your loss value, where you are calculating, in order to minimize your loss value, we are using our Adam optimizer, and we provided a learning rate of 0.001. So now based on the theory we learned, we defined the architecture, we provided the particular entropy value, or we can say the loss value, and we provided the optimizer to minimize this particular loss. We provided the learning rate value, and here we provided the number of epoch. Now you got your train loss, means like it's an empty list. So now you haven't calculated any loss value yet. So now as you are iterating for the 10 times, you are able to calculate your loss value. And test accuracy is also empty list. So as you are iterating, you are able to generate your test accuracies. So for epoch in ranges, number of epoch, so now epoch going to be 1. So you are starting from 0 to your n. So now each epoch, so I want to run model.train. So what exactly model.train? This is going to be model.train, and the running loss, the initial loss value is 0. And here you started collecting your train loader. It contains images, it contains labels, and you are trying to flatten your particular images whichever you received it, and that images you fed into your model, and based on the model you are able to generate your value y, and you are calculating the loss based on your output and your actual labels which are available inside your particular image. So you got a loss. Now you want to minimize the loss. To minimize the loss, you are using optimizer.zeroGrad. The purpose of zeroGrad is, so before you are calculating your gradients, or before you are calculating the differentiation, you are resetting all your gradients so that you are able to compute the new one. For that reason, you are using zeroGrad, and then you are using backward to compute your gradients. After computing the gradients, you are using step in order to update your weights. You are able to see the comments here. In order to update your weights, now you computed the differentiation and you want to update your weights, and you want to update that throughout your network. For that reason, you are using step, and that you are adding that loss.item inside your running loss. Initially the loss is 0, and as you are iterating, the loss value keep on changing. And that's what you are trying to say. So training loss going to be, you need to append the loss value into your training loss, what is that empty list you created. Now running loss divided by length of train loader, so that you are able to get the actual training loss which is going to be appended. And then the similar lines, you are calculating your evaluation as whatever the model it trained, now you are testing it. So now again evaluation correct, total equal to 0, 0, and initial value is going to be, correct value going to be 0, and total value going to be 0. So now with the torch no gradient means we no need to compute your gradient values further. We are stopping the gradient computing process. For that reason, we are using a command no grad. We saw that even in the introductory to PyTorch. And for images labels in the test loader, flattening it, fed into it. So now you are getting your argmax of it. So now your predicted values, and now you are using underscore here. For example, you are getting your label, for example, or you can say your image number and your probability value. So there is no need of this particular image value. You want only that probability score. For that reason, to omit that particular value or that value, instead of feeding that into a variable, we fed inside a underscore, so that we are able to omit that particular variable name whichever we are having. The extra number we are able to generate it, we are able to omit it. And predicted going to be your probability scores, and those probability scores matched with your labels, we are able to say it as correct. In this way, like we are doing it, and then we are appending test accuracies inside my model, so that you are able to get your epoch value, you are able to get your epoch by number of epoch. It's not a division, just a printing way. And train loss, we are printing the train loss of 4 decimal points, test loss of 2 decimal points, we are able to print it. And once we achieve this train and test loss, we are trying to plot them, the loss value. So this is called as a loss curve. The very good loss curve is, so now as your iterations are increasing, your loss need to be stable. So now here if you see, we fed very less number of iterations, only 10. If you are able to run 100 or 200 iterations, it's going to drop and it's going to have that fluctuations, and then it's going to maintain that stable. There may not be any change in loss. It's going to maintain the same loss value. That is your actual loss value which you need to save it. We can call that as a check. So you need to say, for example, from 150 iterations, the loss is not changing. So you can save your weight values, maybe at 150 or 160 you can save it, and that same weights, if you are able to call it, your model can predict it. The same weights I can store it and I can use it as an API where I can charge money for that. If my model is so brilliant, I can use that weights and I can store it somewhere, and we can start charging the money for the sake of API charges. So now this is called as train loss. As your epochs are increasing, your train loss is reducing, and where your epochs are increasing, your test accuracy is increasing. But this is not the right number of iterations. You need to make it more better. You can give it a try. Now I run it only for 10 times, give it a try for 50 times or 100 times, you are able to get a good accuracy. And then we are just plotting your your computational graph. I'm just getting my train loader images labels, flattening it, plotting into output loss, and based on all this we are just based on the model.named parameters, we are plotting our computational graph. So model.parameters, so whichever the parameters we defined inside our model architecture, based on that we are able to compute this particular computational graph. So that's how the code behind your PyTorch is working. Now I hope you got a clear understanding. Give a try of this feed-forward neural network, and with this particular code, even this letter torch is also attached. So give a try of this letter torch. So the only difference is both the codes are similar, and only the difference is we are importing a data from our system in letter data, which is going to be a tabular data, and here we are trying to load an image which is available internally inside a PyTorch. So now this is a very basic standard code. If you can understand this code, the similar kind of code, if you go back to CNN, so only changing is the architecture, the number of layers are increasing. So within this code, what is changing? The number of layers may increase, the type of loss function may change, the type of activation may change. You may add a dropout, or you may add a batch normalization, or you may add a layer normalization, or you try to perform a convolution layer. So the way you are defining the architecture changes, the way you change the loss function changes. End of the day, the overall code mostly remains same. So from algorithm to algorithm, hardly so 10% of the code changes, rest of all the code remains same. And if you want to develop an algorithm from scratch, then your overall coding or maybe changing, the reason you want to define your loss functions from the scratch and all that, that's going to happen. I hope you got a clear understanding. So we will be looking at, on the next video, we will be looking at how to save these weights and how to load them inside our particular model. Let's try to check it. See you in our next video. Thank you.